Hello, my darling butts. How are you all doing? I'm doing well. It's nighttime. Okay, no, really, it's evening. It's so dark, but it's only 5:30. Come on. Today, I'm cooking curry for my family, and it's Japanese curry. Unfortunately, we don't have any Japanese curry roux, which means that I have to make the entire thing from scratch. And so, let's begin. I already chopped up the onions. See, a big bowl of onions. Now, the next thing I need to do is to chop up the meat. We're going to use pork in this recipe, so I'm going to lay down a whole bunch of paper towels because I don't know how messy this is gonna get. I'm going to lay down way more paper towel than I really need. Whew, hard work. Time to take a tea break. This video brought to you by Chibunyam Tea. It's good. This meat's half frozen. So as you may not know, I like to cook. The thing about that is that I do not cook very often. I have only dealt with meat twice, and that was at the end of last year. And both times it was chicken. Stuff is half frozen. My fingers are gonna freeze off. Evidently, I am not a very good chef yet. So I'm rather single-minded in doing stuff like this, so doing a video at the same time was probably a bad idea. But, you know, what could go wrong? My fingers are so cold! Now, as a chef, it is very important to always wash your hands very thoroughly and very often when switching between different kinds of things you are dealing with. I am using very advanced vocabulary here to clearly state my point. Okay, so I finished cutting up all the meat, which was a feat because I am completely unathletic and my hand feels like it's going to fall off now. Now, I actually took a class on cooking in high school, and we learned all this sorts of stuff. And I actually got certified as a food handler. That was like 2 years ago, and if I don't renew, then I lose the permit. But yes, I'm actually certified to handle food. It's probably no good anymore, since that was a class long ago, and I don't really cook much, ever. Fun fact, I have no fun facts. Haha, that made no... That wasn't funny. Help. Alright, so, now that that is out of the way, it is time to make the curry. The roux. I am going to use pretty much coriander. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? That's Daily Grace's thing. What am I doing? Cumin. It says cinnamon, but it's actually turmeric. Cloves. They're like non-existent. And I'm also gonna throw in some cream cheese at some point, because why not? It's good to be adventurous, right? As well as tonkatsu sauce. Why? I don't know, the recipe calls for it. This is the recipe I'm using. I'll post it below so that you can see what it is. So I'll take a small bowl, and for some reason this bowl is marketed as something called a nappy bowl. I have no clue why. First off, we're gonna just throw some of this and throw some of that. Honestly, it's like Chinese measurements. You look at translation, some of this, some of that, some of this too, and some of this. This is going to be a little more work. I actually have to pound it. What the heck was that? It's also good to throw in some black and white pepper into the mix. So you just grind. for some added heat, we're also going to throw in some garlic powder. Because what more do you need than garlic to ward off the vampires that will feast on your... What? We have some sea salt in a grinder. For some reason, I don't know why. I can see the future in this. Yum. And there you have it, more or less, a concoction that should hopefully yield us some curry. Alright, so now I have heated up, it's a wok. And now it's time to saute the onions. Ha! Now it's also important to have some rice when you have your curry, because I'm Chinese. The memory card ran out of space. But so I finished sauteing the onions and caramelizing them, so now I threw in the pork, it's pork, and so now it's about finished being browned, kind of, maybe. What am I doing? Alright, so I think the meat has had enough time to brown, so now I'm going to add some water. And back on to simmer. What did I just cook? While the meat and onions continue to simmer, I'm going to make the roux. I will need to grab the butter and melt it, and then throw everything else in. So I'm going to do that. So this calls for some ketchup, and well, it's Japanese. Like, they like stuff like that, and it actually tastes good. So let's try that. And tonkatsu sauce. Why do I even have this sitting around here? I don't know. So I finished making the roux, and so I added in some of that cream cheese. So then it became this thing, and then I did a thing within the thing. I think I added too much water. Let's be real. I added too much water. So now I'm just gonna sit here and wait for it to thicken a bit. So, yeah. Here we go. I think this has turned out quite nicely. Look at that. Yum. Curry. And there's my brother playing games in the background. Xbox. Yep. That's certainly helpful, don't you think? Anyways, that's about all. Dinner's ready. See you next time. Bye. 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 Bye.